and those max, and it usually gets me out of it most of the time.
I did a course on the 90-90 position. It was by the Foot Collective. Yeah, there was like 3 hours. It was like a 6-hour course. Like it was filmed on the whole day. And I reckon two to 3 hours of it was on that 90-90 position. And like, dude, it's like, it's amazing how when you put yourself in that position, you realize how locked up your hips are. And they focusing on the internal rotation, because we definitely not having you can definitely overdo internal rotation, but like you said, like quite externally rotated out or dominantly externally rotated out, sort of having that 90-90 position when you can focus on the internal rotation of the hip. Man, it just opens up that hip. It's like training biceps all the time, right? But you never train the triceps. Yeah, I've noticed a massive difference every time I go back to the 90-90 positions, dude. Every time, boom, hips open up again. As far as warm-ups and cool downs, absolutely. Especially more open guardish kind of like focus on that class. For example, like a single X guard or belly heaver, deep belly heaver, or any, to be honest, any really open guards really require you to do external, internal rotation. Yeah, it's a great warm up. But I have noticed since coming back to jiu-jitsu, man, it's so interesting to hear people's complaining about injuries. like
Everywhere.
Again, like speaking of when I haven't been training and now I'm getting back into it, it's like, okay, no, this is a really issue. And then training at multiple different gyms over the last fortnight, everyone is saying the same problems. Everyone's talking about the same issues. So I guess it kind of builds to this conversation of when we're training at a local gym and stuff, what can we do to provide more value to the team? Because I'm thinking about ways, like we're talking about this 5 system. You know, with Devon definitely contributed a lot to that. I'm thinking over the next couple of weeks and see if I can start running some of the warm-ups for the guys or the cool downs. Start doing some free work at the gyms. Because man, holy shit, like everyone, crazy. Knees, lower back, shoulders, neck. Every single time.
Yeah, absolutely. Wrists sometimes even.
Wrist, actually, yeah, that's wrist. Wrist is another one. From running some of these free warm-ups, not so much free warm-ups, but just participating and being a member of the club, you know, I mean, I feel it's going to definitely open a lot of doors, or even just for your clients as well.
I reckon it's the same approach as when you go into the PT game. You just need one. You have to start. You have to start with one. So, like, not necessarily like I would suggest that one is you going in there. Well, here's what I found was successful for me at the club was I would just turn up early and do the warm up. So I was doing like 2 minutes of backwards walking, and then I would maybe do some tibialis raises and some calf raise variations, and then someone invariably would ask me a question. Why are you doing it? And then I would just invite them to join, and then I had the one, and then that would just lead to other people, maybe not even directly asking me, but they asked the one, and then it just like evolved from there. And then And then a defining day for me was like, because the class I often attend, Pedro doesn't usually take that class. And then one day Pedro came in and he was taking it that week. And then he said, Devin, can you take the warm-up, please? And then that's when things really like shifted. You know, but it's the same thing as like, I think sometimes I'm guilty of this. The journey, you know, when I reflect on it, the journey to the proposed workshop, in-person workshop, started with one, and it just so happened to be that my one was Pedro. You know, but then the acceptance within the club, that started with one, and it was a different one. It was another guy, Grant, I think his name is, and he just had like lower back fusion. So each time we would train together, we would stretch together before the class. We would do stuff to help activate his glutes and that, and then we would always partner up for the drilling because he was nursing that back, and I just had the knee injury, you know. And what it did do was create this nice, like, just because you're injured doesn't mean you have to not come to training. Like, there's ways you can do training while we're still injured, and it shifted that like injury management thing into like you can still make progress with the injury.
That's so true. Yeah, bring it back a little bit of the how would you sign up face-to-face clients in the gym? Well, you sort of be there, first one there, and you know, take people for some free work, right? I guess that's a nice reminder when we're going to training, you know, making sure we are prioritizing getting there probably a little bit earlier. Not just to do the warm-ups or anything like that. Not just to do the warm-ups, but to see that you're to be seen during the warm-ups, and then having conversations with people as you're doing the warm-ups would be, I think it's a great, yeah, it's a great reminder for sure. The fundamentals of building business in a fitness industry are still the same, whether you're in a jiu-jitsu gym or in a, you know, like an Anytime Fitness kind of thing.
I think the other thing that runs with that, you know, and just go, is sell by chat works on Instagram, but it works more effectively in person, you know. So when I was in the bigger box gym scenario, the most successful runs I had of acquiring clients was when I was on the floor and I just had conversations with people, like, oh, you know, take an interest. What are you doing for training? You know, like, because it has to be about them. It's personal training. It has to be about them. So the other thing that's worked well in the club is like me taking an interest in what someone else's warm up is doing, and then just building the conversation, and then being like, oh, are you open to a suggestion about something that would go well with that, or an alternative to that, or, you know, it's just sell by chat. Yeah.
That's great. I think just in referencing with what we're saying about, you know, being face to face and building connections and stuff, and what I have a similar experience in building clients in the gym where phone calls were great, social media was great, but actually the biggest one was actually being on the gym floor. Something that I'm learning really quite quickly now, and it's kind of been a humbling experience in itself, but when we're looking at the online space and being an online service space, so to speak, unless you're selling products, it might be a little bit different. It's still face to face. Like, I've noticed that I've got into this quite comfortable habit of not just being in front of my laptop and relying on that kind of way. That's how I'm going to build new business, and hopefully I'll get referrals and build funnels that way. But I've been really noticing that, trying to push myself a little bit more to be in front of more people. Just joined one of those grungy kind of gyms, like what you said, Nick. Join one of them, so I'm able to engage with more people, so that, you know, when you start doing your tips, people are going to ask you questions. Yeah, and I think it's a great reminder to say that you have, regardless if you're doing just a face-to-face business on the online space, regardless of both, you're still in the people business, and you need to be in front of people, and that's something I've definitely realized probably even this week. Definitely, like you gotta get outside the house if you can. So.
I think in line with that too, like, we touched on a little bit earlier about the social media. I think where Ben has been successful and he's crafted the art of it, it's like he's talking directly to you with his content. You know, like that's why it's relatable, because he's like sharing his personal experience, and then like with open arms saying, does this, do you relate to this? And here's what you can do. And it's like it's direct in some ways, but it's a well-crafted approach, like, yeah. I mean, you were sort of touching on that, Nick, leaning into being like who you are and conveying that through it. And, as opposed to like, here's this cool thing, it's like, shit, like I faced this challenge, and the way I got through that adversity was I discovered this, and here's why I think it could work for you too.
Yeah, Ben's great sharing his story. He's a storyteller.
I think like example for me this week is like when I did the Tabata IGTV, like the engagement on it. Like one of my friends commented, he's in the comments, his name's Dennis. He runs a really amazing studio in the Netherlands, and he's another trainer, and he was like, oh man, I've been trying to like bang this point home, like, and so it was relatable to trainers as well as me, like challenging the everyday, like at home and lockdown right now, 16 rounds of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off person, like a more direct way would have been for me to say, you guys don't know what real intensity is, but instead it was like, okay, this is the education point, and here's what it looks like, and now like, is that what you will, But I think it was relatable to other trainers, because a bit of the engagement was from other trainers. And then there was this, like in my DMs, there were people going, oh, I never knew that, they had never been told to me like that. I'm going to try this. And okay, cool. Good luck. Because I didn't do anything else that day, I've heard.
Yeah, love that. Powerful message. Here's a thought-provoking question for both of you gentlemen. Is how do you guys actually go when to switch off? We always talk about, what can we do better, and all that kind of stuff, and how can we be more time efficient and all that kind of stuff, which I definitely feel is super, super important, and still always looking to perfect that craft. But how do you guys find to do the opposite? And the opposite is switching off. Like, do you guys struggle with that? Do you have that ability just to flip that switch and be completely disconnected? Yeah, what's everyone's experience on this so far on that? I'm interested to see this.
I think I have a lot of theory on this that makes a lot of sense, but I haven't put it into practice as much. In terms of training and jiu-jitsu, I can feel my body, and I can feel when I start to get overtrained, my joints start to ache, my tendons start to get achy all over. And so I chill out a little bit. I get a little more sleep, and I train less. But in terms of the rest of my life, I struggle a lot more with that. But the theory is basically setting specific times when you're gonna shut off, like especially specifically with like social media or any kind of work, like set certain periods of time where you're going to for sure work, and then make sure you get that in. And as long as you get that in, then you're free after that. So in theory, that's something I think would help a lot, but I haven't put that into practice as much. That's something that would help me. What about you, Deb?
This is a work in progress. So one thing that has helped me switch off in the evening in terms of sleep, like improving my preparation for sleep and that switching off, is I no longer bring my mobile phone in the bedroom anymore. So over there where the kitchen counter is, I've relocated my mobile phone charger to that location, so that when I done my cup of tea in that, when I put the kettle on to make my cup of tea, which I take into the room and have in bed, and I do my other sleep preparation habits, I put the phone on the charger and it doesn't go. What goes into my hands is the tea, and the phone stays behind. So what I've been playing around with is the flip side of that during the day, which is I move the phone charger into the bedroom, and then to switch off in this space, I go and put the phone on charge in the room, because that's my biggest thing, that like even when I'm like switching off, the phone's within arm's reach, and that's the thing that's detracting from, one, me switching off, two, me also being 100% present in my relationship, you know, or whatever other thing I'm moving to create. Like here with you gentlemen on the Zoom, like the phone's there, and I'm aware that a few times I've like, oh, that thing, you know, oh shit, where's my crypto at? So for me, the number one thing I need to address is getting the phone away from me. Because I think as there's a really awesome podcast that Anna Lemke did with Andrew Huberman. If you want to know about like that, the pleasure and pain and the dopamine and this new addiction of the phone, that like conveys it the best I've ever understood it. And so that's
what's the guy's called? What's the name? I know the Huberman podcast, but what's the guest?
Her name is Anna Lemke. It's Lemke. She's like an addiction specialist.
Oh, I think I might have seen this pop up before. Yeah.
And she's brought out, her books actually just come out, but so just a couple of like anecdotes from the podcast is she explains what happens in terms of pleasure, pain, and homeostasis, and like the body wants to maintain homeostasis. And then when we go into a pleasure spike, the pain is actually more favorable. So like our body's geared that when we go up on pleasure, it'll drive us more to the pain side before you rebalance. Like some people understand as like the hangover, you know, the hangover. And then the other thing she explained, which was touched on, which is really intriguing, which they're doing research in, is what happens to our brain, our nervous system, when we are honest versus when we lie. And the research they're doing on like lying versus honesty, and the actual like chemical, hormonal stress response that happens within us. That was like, oh, okay. So that, yeah. So the summary, the phone's the challenge for me to switch them off, and just putting it in a different space, creating distance, is the thing I'm trying to do.
That's a great idea. I love that. And I'm actually going to start trying that tonight. I've heard of that before, but I don't know, for some reason it seems profound to me right now. Actually, lately, I've been having the issue of just wanting to pick up my phone and get on it. I think because I've been on social media a lot more active lately, trying to create more content, look at more content so I can create it, using that excuse as needing to look at it. Do you feel that one? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Another feeling.
Yeah. And so whenever you get into that habit and that flow, you almost want it more. And it's just, you want it in your hand all the time, and you pick it up. And like you've talked about this before, where you just pick it up and you just start scrolling through something. Like you have to click on something. And so, yeah, I think less time on mobile will help with everything.
You just reminded me that the woman I referred to, Anna Lemke, she featured on that documentary, the Social Dilemma.
Oh, that one's, yeah, that's fucked.
And I mean, the thing is, in summary,
Right.
like the goal of every social media platform is to keep you engaged on the platform.
Yeah.
So, being quite honest, like, especially because we're in a lockdown, you know, I'm missing high levels of interpersonal connection right now. You know, like on a given day, say I average 7 or 8 sessions and on a general day, I don't have that 7 or 8 person engagement right now, that deep personal connection, that purpose, providing a surface. Like, it's totally shifted. So I've become aware that, like, I'm trying to fill the void a little bit by, like, engaging with comments or on social media, or, like, you know, messages in my DMs, like, yeah. And it's like, but it's not the same. And on the days where I'm good at, like, just doing a little sprint, like in this 15 minutes, I'm going to reply to all the messages. It's actually far better for me than when I, like, keep revisiting it, you know?
That's super true. So it's an important reminder of the lockdowns and stuff that, yeah, we naturally need that human connection. So seeking it through other means, it's definitely one way to do it. It's finding that dichotomy. Things come back into. You want to be on enough. You want to be on social media enough where you make a presence, you grow your audience, and make connections with people. But at the same time, you also don't want to get too lost into that world as well.
I have
Go
to.
ahead.
I have to say that I mean, I'm only 5 days in, but like day one, when I did the left-hand writing thing, I did it, you know, later in the day just to get started. And the 4 days since, I've sort of done it as the first thing of my day. And I tell you, a positive thing that's happened as a result of it. There's less over-analysis happening of each moment of the day, right? Because, like, if I look at that, like, that was day one's attempt, okay? And then that was like today's attempt. So you look at the change in volume. So what I think it is that because each letter is, like, imperfect. Like, on the one hand, it's like it's not perfect. Each letter is imperfect, but each letter is still the letter it's meant to be. So I've tried again, like, that many times today, that I feel mentally, like, more open to just trying to film content, or trying to post something on social media, or trying to like do something else. Like, on day 2 or 3 of this, I went and sat the exam for Joel Jameson's course. I actually signed up and did in 2018, but I had it, like, I'd done the study and I hadn't gone and sat the exam, and I think part of it was a self-limiting belief. Like, I was like, I'd done the work and then fallen over it. So like on day 2 or 3 of the left-hand riding, I went and did it, and I passed the test like 49 out of 50. And I was like,
Nice.
you know, but that was the shift that happened, and like it's a combination of other things, but like there's something quite. I think the other thing I'll say anyway, the left-hand writing thing has taken me back to a time before things got too serious, like a time before my parents divorced, a time before like I had to step up and sort of like be the man of the house, a time before like I started to, you know, get a bit like, you know, the realities of the world came in. I've gone back to a time before that, and what it's led to is actually play in other areas of my training, or just going outside and picking up a ball. Like there's this ripple effect that's happening. It's only been 5 days, but it's noticeable.
How interesting is that? By simply, I guess it's being more creative in somewhat respect, right? Like you're actually, a lot of people say they're not creative these days, but because they're too busy all the time, and it's probably exactly with everything you just said before. Before my parents, broken up, before all the responsibilities came in, before that. But what was life actually previously? That it was just play and create, and we've lost that a little bit to a certain degree, because we have all these other responsibilities of life, which I don't know. I guess it's definitely having some responsibilities is important, but doing less but more, and freeing up that space for more creativity stuff. I love it. I think that actually, in saying that, or we'll start writing the left every single day. I think that's great. Even on the mats as well, like how we're so comfortable of, like, definitely, I can say I'm definitely more comfortable playing open guards on the left side, and then I'll pass more on the right. Like there's always this kind of favoritism kind of stuff, triangles on with the right leg on top of the shoulder versus the left top of the shoulder. Definitely there's room to explore working on other sides, even writing. I love the writing. I think that's great. Get that left and right brain connection firing up a lot better too.
Like I'm doing it right now. Like I've put the mouse in my left hand. In the morning when I brush my teeth, I've been brushing my teeth
with my left,
and I've been balancing on my left. So I've been balancing on my left foot and brushing my teeth on my left, because the left foot is the foot I broke last year. And then I'll go to the right knee, because the right knee is the one where the ACL's gone. So I've been doing these like left and right balances. So that's what I mean by like there's plays coming back in cool ways, you know? And because like there's no try. Like as soon as you start attempting to write the letter, you're past trying, you're doing. Like either do or do not, you know? Like there's no try. Isn't that like a film quote somewhere or something? Like no try, only do.
I have, yeah. There's a quote for that. Yeah, only do not try, or something like that. Yeah. Think less, right? Think less. Comes down to that, thinking less. Just do more.
I was just talking. I forgot I was muted. No, it's Star Wars. Yoda says it. Do or do not. There is no try.
That's right. My man.
No, I love that. It makes a lot of sense. And that goes along with everything that we talk about, starting to just create content. And that's exactly what you said, that you've been able to do a lot easier, is just do instead of overthinking. And I think all of us here, I know me and Lackey talk about it often, and paralysis by analysis plagues us, especially me. And I think that is absolutely something that could help, just being more creative, silly in your life. It makes me think of Tim Ferriss, and he talks about Seneca, the old Stoic philosophers, and he talks about how they used to, I can't remember which one it was exactly, but one of them would put on crazy clothes and go walk the streets so that they didn't care what people thought about them anymore, and so that they could just go through life carefree, just in that play mode, like we're talking about.
Like the other thing, in line with that, I used to say, like, I don't give a fuck what people think. I've had to change that script, because, like, as a human, and because of the need to belong to a tribe and be part of a community, I actually do care what people think. But the degree to which I allow that, I take it on board as my own opinion, because it's just their opinion. It's the 4 agreements of, like, don't take anything personally. So I've managed to go, I've shifted it to, like, no, I do care. There's this natural thing within me, because I like connection, that I do care what people think, but I let their opinions of me, or they're just their personal opinions that they express, have less of an effect on me, in the decisions I make. Because, like, I am what I am as I think, so, and that's, I think that's allowed me to be less attached to labels,
Yeah.
Like, I spoke about this a little bit the other day when Jack May and he asked me to jump on his podcast, and there was a bit in there where I shared that, like, now that Courtney and I are engaged, and, like, within a short time frame of me taking that action, doing that, taking the leap of faith and getting my things shifted for me, in the sense that I realized that, like, being a coach, a trainer, like, it's not a necessity. No one needs a personal trainer. No one needs a coach. But I need and am someone's son and grandson and someone's nephew, and I want and choose to be Courtney's fiance, and I make the choice to be her husband one day, and then that will lead to the situation where I will be a father. Those are roles that, like, and a friend, like, you guys are my friends, like, I'm your friend. Those labels, those ones matter. All the other ones, like a good jiu-jitsu person, they don't matter. They matter only so much as I attach meaning to them. Like, in the broader scheme of things, it doesn't matter as much as me being a good person, which, and the labels around that for me are the ones that I just mentioned.
It's very relevant. Okay. Freeing up your mind. For it.
But the beauty that runs with that for me is that, like, if I choose to be a trainer, which I do choose to be, that's my choice, and I choose, like, the significance of that role in my life, and if it no longer brings me joy, or, like, I'm not doing it in a way that brings me joy, I should, or it doesn't support the realization and optimization of husband, father, son, brother, friend, which are the priority, then I got to make a change, So the way I'm living has to have the performance in those labels or those roles, first and foremost. And if it supports performance in those areas, then great. Great.
Choosing. I think it's a really important part you brought up. It's like social media kind of thing. Like you choose if I go on my phone, I am choosing to go on my phone or not. It's it is a choice.
Well, I think that the key term that we can attach here is like, how willing are we to be accountable? Like, like, someone coughed on me and I got COVID. It's like, yeah, but you went to the shop.
Yeah.
You know, like which part did you play? Like, yeah, they did cough on you, yeah, but like you went to the shop. You needed to go get food. Like that was a priority to you. That was important to you at that time. So like, how accountable are you willing to be, and can you go even further into the accountability? Because like, then you own it. You know, you're taking ownership of the life you're creating. Accountability.
Have you guys read Extreme Ownership from Jocko Willink? That's a great one. On this subject. Exactly.
Everything happens to you, it is your fault. It's how you interpret the situation and taking responsibility in it.
It's your fault or it's your opportunity.
You
know, like it's like whatever it is, it just is, and our interpretation of it is our own. You know, like you guys are talking about challenges this week. The challenge I face is that I hadn't realized that the surgeon put through my application for funding as high priority. So I now have to go for knee surgery within 30 days. Like the decision's been made for me. Now, that's when I spoke to you guys just a week ago, I was like, I'm going in for 9 months. I'm going to explore non-surgical. And like, if I can, I'm going to avoid it. But that option's being removed, right? So it just is like, and the risk is that if I say, oh, I don't want surgery, I think I'm going to get, but I might lose the option to have the surgery. So it's like, so I can still choose not to, but there's a level of fear of that now. So I lean into it like, okay, I think I'm gonna go. I'm going in for surgery in 5 days' time. Like I'm going on Friday. If the levels change, I'm gonna be on the table under the knife on Friday. Just is.
Yeah. Got to be willing to adapt to situations, right? Not, you know what I mean? Like, okay, change plans, let's go. You know what I mean? Not get caught up in the bullshit, right?
That's kind of what stoicism's about as well, isn't it? Like Seneca, like he's a stoic, you know, like the whole notion is like, yeah, like I think there's like a Chinese proverb, and it's like the horse and the son breaks the leg, and they're like, oh, that's unlucky. It's like, maybe yes, maybe no. Like it just is, you know. Oh, you won $1 million. You're super lucky. Maybe yes, maybe no. Like I know a lot of people that have won like $1 million and it's like made their life hell. You know, like you know what I mean? Like we hear stories of that all the time. So it just is. You know, it just is.
I guess referencing everything that we're sort of speaking about today, what is the things, ideas, concepts, habits, routines, whatever you think, that you perceive that will be able to take you to this next level that we're all trying to collectively work together now? And obviously, like, we're still working on our businesses and, you know, helping more people and all that kind of stuff, but to be more contribution to this planet and doing a service to ourselves and our partners and our families and stuff. What do you feel is what are some ideas that you guys think that could be taking us to that next stage? Just to get it started, I guess, with a couple of these ideas that I've been thinking about. Getting it up, before the sun, a consistent time. I think there's something unique about getting up around 5 o'clock. Well, depending on where you live, of course, the sun gets up different times, but the sun gets up here. The sun is probably about 6 a.m. So, and I've been waking up with the sun with no alarm. But hey, fuck, man, that's an extra hour that I could be doing, being prioritizing myself and able to be more useful for the time that I have available. And thinking less and just doing more. I think these are some ideas that I've definitely, what we've discussed about today, and I feel like that those are some aspects that could be holding me back if I do not take action on it. But yeah, what do you guys think with all that? What do you think is like to be a world champion, right? To get double gold in jiu-jitsu, right? In the blue belt tournament, like what are some aspects that you could do that completely put you in the top 1% kind of thing?
I think intentional habits in general, like having a morning and nightly routine, having a routine when you get on and off the mats. I think those would be game changers and really elevate you to a different plane. Yeah. Something that I could really work on.
I think, it starts with sleep for me. And I think
it's another one.
I think that that leaving the phone out of the room thing, because my body clock is, even if I was back, my body clock is waking me up like at 10 to 5 in the morning. And then I roll over and I put my feet on the floor and I get up and go out. So, the initial fear for me of like leaving the phone, or like historical fear, is like, oh, my alarm. But right now it's like definitely not a problem. Like I wouldn't be missing my first client. So keeping the phone out of the room and that allowing me to wind down for bed and getting a better sleep, I think that's number one. Number two, you've touched on it, is the 1, 2, 3 of what I do in the morning. And this introduction for me right now with the left hand writing thing is just setting me up in a profound way for like design-led thinking. Like do, test, iterate, do, test, like try and try and try again. Like fail quickly. It's that fail quickly mentality. Yeah, and then I think the third one for me is like that, recognizing that there's probably 3 things that I really value each day. One of them is part of that morning routine when I make my coffee. It's not just because Courtney doesn't usually get up till like 2 hours after me, but part of it is my committing to the relationship again, is the act of I pour half the coffee out in one mug for me and then the other mug for Courtney, and I take it in and I put it beside the bed and I pull the covers up and I tuck her in and I tell her I love her. So that's me recommitting to the relationship every single morning, but investing back into the relationship. So telling her I love her is one of the things I really value each day. Food is something that I really value for me. Like, that thing about switching off, it's when I cook. I've really realized that this lockdown, when I cook, I switch off. Like it's the methodical for me. And I think it's in alignment with the handwriting thing. It's like achieving something, taking raw ingredients. Yeah, and then the third thing is the movement, daily movement. Like today, it was like, I've just been for a bike ride. That's why I was a bit late on the call. I went for a bike ride. I went and borrowed a bike and went for a bike ride. And I was stretching that, but yeah. So I think the value, I think sleep, and then the morning routines that help me identify that are in alignment with my values. Yeah.
yeah, I just think about the majorly successful people, and when I think of that, I don't think of someone who has willy-nilly non-scheduled. They just go about their day and kind of just slowly fall through the day, stopping wherever they hit their head on. But they have intentional routes every day, that they wake up and go to sleep with intention on everything they do. They spend their time with intention. And that's what I think of when I think of a successful person.
I think just what maybe goes with it is the environments. You know, like, you know, because I think when we overschedule the day, that can be anxiety, right? But when we schedule in the environments we need to be in for that day to move us closer to the, like me sitting here, this environment here, when I come down off that step, this is my office space, and I find that when I sit here and don't have the phone, I do good research, I do the True Growth programs. I go out into the garage right now and I drag the mats out into it, like that's my training environment. You know, when we're not in the lockdown, when I go to the gym I operate out of, that's my work environment, you know? So I think those environments really allow us to lean into what you were saying, Nick, about like just going through things intentionally, because there's an intention in that space, you know? So the lounge space for me needs to be a chill out zone. I don't work in that zone. And then the bedroom is the rest and recover space for me, which is why the phone staying out of there is good, because the phone cramps me up. So maybe environments is a big part of all of that.
I could definitely relate to that. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I never thought, just to expand on that, tasks, and then what environment do these tasks need to be completed? So for example, like what's a great example that we all do? Okay, programming. Like let's say we're going to do some programs. I always used to say that I sucked at programming, and then until I realized that I needed to be in a environment where I want to do programming, and that's usually like a gym or some sort of office space, or just, I don't know, something where I have equipment around me. But I never thought about, instead of going, fuck, I got to do my programs, going, okay, if I got to do my programs, where do I need to be to do the programs? Where do I need to be to do my accounting? Where do I need to be to write a blog? I mean, what environment do I need to be in?
Like our homes, we set up our homes for it, but I don't know if we intentionally use the spaces in our homes for it sometimes. You know, like most people have an office in their house, but then they sit on the couch trying to merge watching some Netflix show alongside. But if they just separated the two, like you'd get the work done faster, and then you'd probably enjoy the show more. You know, you know,
quality.
like, yeah, it's intention's such a good word, Nick. I think it's intention, and and it leads to a better quality, and then it creates that discipline, creates the freedom to switch off. You know, so because what I have noticed is, like, I've tried to work at the breakfast counter. It's nowhere near as good as when I step into this space. Like I come in and sit down and I work, and the quality of the work, the time in which, the efficiency of the work, it's great. And then I go into the bathroom to clean and wash, and, like, you know, for hygiene purposes. I don't do hygiene stuff in the bedroom. You know, like, then in the bedroom I like read my book and I like sleep, you know. So yeah, I think environment's massive, you know, like when I leave the house now, like when I go for a walk, I don't take my phone with me. I just go and do the walk, you know, go and do the walk. Now, sometimes I might listen to a podcast on the walk, but I've found it's better for me if I just go and do the walk. Go and do the walk, you know, and then when I do the podcast, I seem to absorb it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. And I think it's a great reminder too, like when you work, especially with lockdowns and all that kind of stuff, when we're working from home, I've definitely, because I've been just using the table. I've just been using the table to do, you know, online sessions and you know, programs and right, like everything is all in the same environment. And where I feel now that can be an aspect that can be improved is, yeah, like diversifying that environment, you know, such as, you know, working on the kitchen pans, right? Like it's, I mean, it can be done, but Jesus Christ, like what's the kitchen environment for? Well, the kitchen environment's for cooking. It's not for work, right? Or the bedroom. Imagine like sit your, oh, shit, probably some people do this, but I can imagine trying to do your work in the bedroom. Like, good luck. I'll get so distracted every single time I pick up my phone, or, you know, it's just too many distractions. It's not the ideal environment to do certain work.
I tell you when I enjoy my coffee most. When I just sit at the breakfast counter and just have the coffee. Like when I'm sitting here, when I bring my coffee over to here, or a cup of tea, well, I don't enjoy, I couldn't tell you really what the sensation of the coffee and the tea and the flavors is when I'm here. It's alongside. When I sit there and I sit down and I have the coffee, maybe I'm talking to Courtney or something, fuck, it's like so much better, you know? So much better. I think that's the other aspect of the like whatever version of left-hand writing you may choose. You have to be present in it. Like I cannot do the left-hand writing while doing something else. It's just like, no, it doesn't happen, you know?
Or like Keegan talks about juggling in the same aspect, and there's no way that you're going to juggle while you're thinking about something else.
With the, I don't know if you guys watched. His name's Nicholas, the motion guy. He lives in Bali.
Yeah.
What's his last name? Because he did a talk, didn't he?
Yeah. So one of his goals, and I was trying to find it. And that's what sort of got like what sort of sparked off the idea of the left-hand writing. One of his goal areas is precision. So he does archery. He's been learning to do archery. So, which, you know, precision or focus, like, so my precision goal right now is the precision required to be a left-handed writer. And it's just like, I think the precision goals, because one of the other ones is like, another example of it is learning a language or learning an instrument, you know, because you just, you ain't learning the language, you ain't learning the instrument if you're not in that moment, you know? So those realms of goals lend themselves to higher levels of focus.
Yeah. Love that, Devin.
Trying to find it.
It's been a very philosophical conversation today.
It's gone in a nice direction, gentlemen.
It's nice. That's for a change, you know what I mean?
So can I propose a question? Yeah, a question to, because I know we're sort of getting close to the end is, how did you go with your this week's 10-minute daily thing? And Nick's gone.
Is he?
Yeah.
I must have dropped out.
I guess actually the question is, what do you need to stop doing? What are you going to start doing? What are you going to continue doing? Stop, start, continue.
Stop, start, continue. Let's go with the continue bit first. So the continue bit, is just the daily writing. My daily writing is getting so much better. Awesome. I feel some days are great, some days are awful. But what matters is the consistency of the consistency of the habit. As I said last week, I kind of figured out, it's like, fuck, if I write 10 to 15 minutes every single day, 7 days a week, right now with the current speed that I write, and obviously practice being able to get ideas onto paper, that's 3 blog posts or 3 articles that I can write per week, and therefore, boom, straight away I can start to create an email marketing list through that. And that was only now, keep in mind, I still got to edit it and stuff, so it isn't like 10 minutes of writing. It's like it's one part, and I got to do like 10 to 15 minutes of editing. But again, that's even another skill that I didn't recognize that was a part of the writing process. Is writing, it's one part, but then you have to also be able to go through your own right words and correct it. So I've been really enjoying. And definitely it's giving me a lot more space to be more creative too. That's something that I haven't been pursuing as much over the last couple of years, but until recently. So yeah, the thing that I'm going to stop doing, the thing I'm going to stop doing, actually, it's actually 2 things. The first one is not going to bed unless I'm sure that I know what the tasks are going to be done for the following day. I definitely could work it out in the morning, but I feel every time that I really spend the time, even it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, just before bed, I go, okay, what am I looking to achieve tomorrow? Like what do I want accomplished, or what step closer do I want to be? Every time I do that, I always have a better day. And it's such a small little thing, 5 minutes, 10 minutes there, and it just adds up. So not going to bed without doing that, it's definitely going to be, I guess that's what I need to start doing as well. And then the second part, which was the stop doing, which I kind of brought up, is last night I was trying to Mish went out for went to with some friends and stuff, so I got to hang out by myself last night, which was amazing. But I also felt the aspect of falling. I keep thinking about work, right, and I struggle to switch off. So something that I'm going to stop doing, even now, as I'm saying this, is when I decide to switch off, I'm completely switching off, and that means I'm going to put my phone away. That's the key. If you want to switch off, you can't have your phone with you. So yeah, those are the things that I'm going to start and stop doing, and continue doing. What about yourself?
That was good. That was good, bro. So this is like what I heard. The writing is your version of my left-handed writing, because it's less creative freedom for you. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and it's important that you don't have paralysis by over-analysis. Just do. Just do. I reckon Nick's phone died.
Yeah, I think he's gone back in with his girlfriend's phone.
Yeah, I reckon his phone died. His battery died.
Yeah, my phone died.
Oh, there it is.
Maybe that's a sign that after this, you don't even need. You can just switch off. No, phone, be quiet.
Yeah, no, keep the phone off. Don't even charge it.
So just when what I proposed, what I asked was, what are you gonna stop doing? What are you gonna start doing? What are you gonna continue doing? So Lockie's gonna continue doing his writing, because, and what I was saying is, it sounds like him doing the daily writing is his version of my left-handed writing, because it's just giving him creative freedom, and it's just getting better and better and better. And even on the days that he's analyzing it, if he just does it, Good, it's done. No try, only do. He's going to the stop. You're gonna stop. He's gonna stop thinking about work when he's told himself it's time to switch off, and he's gonna do that by putting his phone aside, and he's going to start. Oh shit! Hang on. Ooh, what was the start? What did you say the start was, Lucky?
It was writing my the things that I want to achieve the following day, the night before.
Yeah, that's right. And
Yes.
so I have an approach. There's an approach to that I use, Lucky.
Yeah.
So I have a notebook beside the bed that just sits there with a pen on it, and I write down 3 people I'm grateful for, 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things I personally want to achieve the next day, and 3 things I professionally want to achieve the next day. And
what's the difference between professionally and then things want to get done?
So personally, so one would be,
okay.
Yeah, so personally and versus professionally. So personally,
okay.
Personally, it would be like I want to go for a walk. A professional example was I want to film my, like.
Yep.
So they can be complementary. Like I'm going to train in the driveway, and then I'm going to film aspects of the training to use for content. So there can be a hybridization there. And then it will, but another just personal one would be like, I'm going to cook a badass carrot cake. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so that's the example.
Okay. Yeah, I like that one. Personally and professionally.
I like that too.
Yeah, I think I like that because it keeps it balanced. Because if I just write down things that I'm going to achieve tomorrow, that they are often, for me, that I put the pressure on and they work only, and I forget about me.
Boom. Yeah, that's what I really liked about it, because I was about to say the same thing. It's like when I do write a task of things that I would like to do. Now that I think about it, all of them are just professional, and I never write down anything personal. So I like that aspect of breaking down in your tasks. It could be more, but like 3 things professionally for sure, absolutely, and then 3 things personally, because I think that's definitely we tend to forget about is ourselves and able to prioritize ourselves as well.
Well, I think there's a metaphor in there, right? Like if the only things we write down that we're going to do are always professionally linked, how can you switch off?
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah,
true.
Because like you've set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, the everything that I'm going to do is work related, and then that's that thing I said earlier about like work becomes the label, whereas the label should be like us as a person first and foremost, because we say better people make better athletes, but better people make better like workers or service givers to the world, like just better.
So true.
So the last question that I heard before I fell off was how was the 10 minutes of hanging going? Was that what it was? It cut off right then.
Yeah. So that tied into the
right.
Kind of like the stop start continue was a hybrid with that, because they're the same sort of thing in a sense.
Yeah. So for me, I found a time to get in the hanging whenever I would do the 90-90 and the other priming positions.
Hang right now.
So I kind of did all 3 at once, and it helped me to do those at least 3 or 4 times a day. And I actually felt a little bit sore from the 90-90 just doing it for like a minute each day. So that tells me how much I need it. But yeah, I didn't quite get 10 minutes, but I got in a lot more time than I did before. And so that's something I'm going to definitely continue to do. As far as what I'm going to stop bringing my phone into the bedroom.
and
Mm.
and I think my girl wants to do that too, um, because she got excited when I said that. Um, we've both been struggling with that actually, and I'm gonna start the same thing, planning tasks for the next day, because that's something we've talked about doing recently also. That's super important, and I have not been achieving what I want daily because I don't have the plan for the day. And I like that approach. I'm going to try that out. Three things: grateful for 3 people, and then 3 personal and 3 professional goals. Devin, are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Have you noticed much change in your kind of being grateful by doing that daily?
Yeah. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes the things I write, like, yes, I'm more grateful, and yes, it's a part of that bigger picture of like less over analysis. Because sometimes it's like, I might just write down, I'm grateful to Courtney for watching. Because sometimes we'll watch a movie in bed. Like, I'm grateful to Courtney for watching a movie with me, which seems like it's just appreciating a really small thing,
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, I might be like, that's not significant enough to feel gratitude for that thing, like, but that's the whole point of gratitude, is like to find peace in this most simplest of things, like my list today will most, like, I wait till I'm there in the moment and see what sort of pops up and just write it down. And then once I get the 3, actually, when I get the 3 down, I want to write more, and sometimes I'll just do the more. But the minimum is 3 people I'm grateful for. Yes. So yes, with some explanation of it. Yes. I think.
Is there anything?
Sorry. Good.
Is there anything you do in the morning? Do you do the same thing?
I don't.
Do you think it would be beneficial?
Well, I think you could do the gratitude in the morning, but what I do, I think my gratitude, it's the act I do in the morning of taking the coffee and.
Oh yeah.
It's because our partners, if we choose to have partners, they're the greatest investment of all the resources, or the only resource that we really have, which is time. Like, I spend an amount of time with Courtney, and when we have kids, like, she's going to have the greatest and most immediate impact on our children's life. So I think the gratitude is an action for me in the morning. It's the making that coffee and putting it beside her bed, Now, I could add the writing down of things, but I think it's now the second action of doing the left-handed writing before I do any work or anything. Again, it's like, wow, gratitude for like opportunity to try and write with my left hand, and to not be doing it right now, but that means there's so much room for improvement. There's a gratitude thing going on for me there. Yeah, that's what I'm experiencing.
Back to intention.
Yeah. So maybe what I. So okay, here we go. My continue is the crypto. I'm going to continue the daily crypto study and research I've been doing. I bought 3 NFTs this week to put myself into the non-fungible token marketplace. So I'm a proud owner of 3 pieces of digital artwork, which I will now, this week, part of my research will be about deciding whether I put one or some or all of those on the marketplace to try and get a return immediately. Flip them. So that's my continuous, the crypto. My stop is I'm going to stop taking my phone into other environments where it's not required. I'm going to extend the application of that experiment, or at a time it's not required. Because sometimes when I'm here, it might be a compliment to the work I'm doing because it gives me a second tool. But often it's not. So I'm going to stop bringing the phone into my workspace as an example, you know. And then when I go and train in the gym, what I've found works better for me in the gym is I hook the music up to my laptop, because when I hook it up to my phone, I pick up my phone and seem to open up social media. But when the music
Relate to that.
when the music's hooked up to my laptop, I don't do that. You know, I just go over and change the song and then get back into the workout. So yeah, and so my start then is that gratitude piece I do at night, which is tied to the 3 things I'm going to achieve personally and 3 things I'm going to achieve professionally. I'm going to start picking that up in the morning, bring that out of the bedroom with me and sit down with it here. And after I've done my left-handed writing, I'll then turn to that list from the previous night and then decide whether those are the 3 and 3 top priorities or adjust it and then go. Yeah. Yeah. So continue crypto, stop taking phone into environments where it's not required, and start using the nighttime ritual as an integration into my morning ritual to set me up for the action steps for the day.
Love it.
Love it.
It's been a great chat, guys.
They're beautiful. Thank you, gentlemen. Now I'm going to go and see if Holyfield's fighting Vitor Belfort and Anderson Silva's fighting Tito Ortiz.
Oh my God. What a world we live. What a world we live in.
Hey, I hope that Evander Holyfield is playing awesome because he looks slow in the open workouts. And Vitor Belfort looks like he is TRT up to the hill.
Oh,
I'm being honest about that's my personal opinion.
yeah.
But that's what.
Hey, if you're in your 40s, I tell you what, that's what I'd be doing.
I think Silva still has it in him. And did you see Ortiz in his last fight against what's his name, Iceman?
Yeah, Chuck Liddell. Yeah.
Well, did you see catch Anderson Silva's first pro boxing debut when he fought Julio Chavez Jr. like about 2 months ago? Mate, he took a guy that was at one point in time a top prospect. He beat him on points.
Wow.
He showed vintage Anderson Silva like in the corner dancing, like come here, let's like go. Bang, 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 boom. It was
Just
mate, Tito is gonna get schooled.
yeah.
Tito, glad he got a big head because he's going to be blocking with it.
It's going to be a good fight.
Yep. All right, gentlemen.
Boys, really appreciate you taking the time at your Sunday and Saturday. It's not unnoticed. It's definitely not unnoticed. And I said I really value these calls as I feel it really keeps the trajectory of the week and making the adjustments that need to be had, you know, and we're just going to keep moving forward, keep asking questions and get curious about everything that we do and see what we can create out of this.
Well, on an interesting teaser for our next call, should the levels change here in New Zealand, there's a high likelihood I'll be as high as a kite on morphine at our Sunday call. So
oh, I'm into.
So the next one could be interesting. Just a heads up, okay?
Oh, we can get a little bit more philosophical. It's okay.
All right.
Surgery if that's what happens.
Thank you, bro. Oh, and on another note, Nick, brother, you looking shredded, man.
Oh, bro, that's what I mean. Like, what are you eating at the moment? Like, fuck, I need to actually just before we do jump into that, man, we're gonna raise our standards. Nick's fucking pulling in for the team.
Bro, I was like, dudes coming in, ripped, fucking, like body composition is functional over here. Holy! Oh, and another thing, guys, I don't know if you guys have. I bought the audio book of the Danaher Diaries, like John Danaher, mate.
Really
cool, really cool. Listen, really cool. Listen. So he's
Danaher Diaries.
Yeah, there's three Danaher Diaries. Now you can get it on Kindle. It's about like $5 NZ per book. It was, I think the bundle was $17.99 NZ dollars for the Kindle bundle, and then there's an audio book as well. And it's essentially like musings from his philosophical posts on Instagram. It's just like a series of musings. It's just quite. I think you guys will enjoy it. You know, because the direction of our conversations has been quite philosophical of late, and yeah, he's a great communicator. Great communicator.
Oh, absolutely.
Plus, he's a Kiwi.
That's true. He's a Kiwi.
He is a Kiwi.
He's a Kiwi.
All right, gentlemen. Love yous, leave yous. Enjoy that sunshine in the GC.
Oh yeah, baby. Every day, baby. It's every day. It's like this.
All right. See you later, team.
See you guys.
See you, dudes.